Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Kawneer number 233494. This is it's a filler plate is what it is. This filler plate, and I have one removed from the packaging here, is for a Paneline device. I'm not an expert when it comes to Kawneer, but I may know more than the average person. Kawneer has their Paneline. They have their 1686 and their 1786 mechanical and electrified electric retraction models of those devices. The Paneline is the really unusual one in the sense of it is the one that is built in and incorporated in that mid-rail. And it is part of the door construction. That's the Paneline. You'll know it when you see it, and we're going to show you what it looks like in a little bit. What they call the pivot style filler plate means the side of the door where the hinges are, or the continuous hinge, or the pivots, or the floor closer and top pivot, whatever is hanging in the door. It's the pivot style because it's the one that has a hole in it, because the dogging would be on the hinge side or the pivot side of the door. And that's how you'll know that this is the one. So it's basically a piece of extruded aluminum that's been machined. And that's all it is. And this is for a 3-foot door, and that's going to be in relation to the width of the plate itself. Okay, let's take some basic dimensional properties. Overall height, measure it from the back. Overall height about 7 1/4. Its overall width is about 3 7/16. Its overall depth, you can see, is right at about 5/8 of an inch. And there's an image down below, but it'll show you this feature of what you're going to do to slide it into the workpiece. Pardon me, into the Paneline, into the chassis. So let's switch now to the screen view where we can take a look at some supporting documentation. Before we do that, let me put a caliper around the thickness of this aluminum extrusion. It's got to be 200 thousandths. Yeah, sorry, 155, so 0.155. 0.155 for 5/30 seconds. Okay, 0.155. Let's switch to the screen view and take a look. Okay, so this is the item that we are looking at right here. And not much to see here, but what I wanted to show you was the link to the service parts catalog. And let's copy that part number and then fire up that PDF document. And there are different versions of this in terms of the year of publication, and I'll show you where we keep the other ones that we have for your review. And as I search for the 233494, I'm immediately going to come to the page where I find it. Now, I had mentioned the 3-foot pertains to the width of the filler plate. It would only make sense, of course, that when you have a 3/6 or a 4/0, you're going to have more aluminum. So that's where you're going to get the other pieces. Now, having said that, you could certainly cut this, but I would earnestly discourage you from cutting it, only because the factory gets a very clean cut. I imagine that they are cutting this on a liquid-cooled, radial bandsaw, that sort of gizmo is what is going to be done here. Now, I said we'd talk about the Paneline, and here's the chassis. Let's search the entire document for Paneline, and we'll find lots of instances of it just in the service manual part, not even going into any sort of other marketing documentation that they may have. So not a great picture, but the fact of the matter is, if you've got this very large paddle that's literally integrated into the mid-rail of the door, you've got a Paneline. The other two devices I had mentioned is the 1686 and the 1786. The 1686 is their concealed vertical rod device. It's going to look like that. No latch here because it's concealed vertical rod. Then they have their 1786, which will look the same from a distance, but it's a rim device. Okay, so it'll have a Pullman latch out here. So this document is 50 plus pages of service parts. Very handy, very useful. This is the document that we refer to all the time. If it's not in here, it may not exist, but if it's not in here, it very likely could exist. And what I mean by that is the factory will very often have a document that might look like the 1686 installation instructions, where they literally have these parts referred to, but these parts don't show up anywhere in a parts manual. The end cap you can get. The bracket to mount the end cap, that's not published anywhere. So there will be, some of these items are available, some are not. I just had a client who wanted to purchase part 3 and part 2, and they were not available as standalone products. So if you find something that there is no part for, reach out to us. We'll ask the factory if we can get our hands on it. But there are times when they're just not available separately. Now, the link here to the manufacturer's page on any item that you're on, we were just on our filler plate. Link here to the manufacturer's page. That's going to allow us to take a look at all of the Kawneer items that we have, as well as a link to the manufacturer's website, their architectural hardware catalog, but over here, service parts catalog. So I save all of the documents we have. You might get a part number that's odd, that's unusual, and it hasn't existed for a long time. Access to older documents is really handy so that you can figure out what it was and try to figure out what it is that you can use to replace something that's been discontinued. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Now, in conclusion, Kawneer is a very common aluminum storefront manufacturer of material. They work very well with the commercial hollow metal and wood door industry, distributors like ourselves. And I have been very successfully able to not only sell their material to people who buy it, but really where we come in is replacement parts. And I feel that we do a really good job at it. I think the role of providing replacement parts allows the client to continue to get useful operation out of the significant investment in code-mandated hardware. And it's no good to have a significant investment in exit devices when they don't work or they're not set up properly. So reach out to us for your needs on parts. This was what would be the Dash 17 finish. That's clear anodized aluminum. Dash 29. If it's the part number Dash, 17 is clear anodized aluminum, 29 is black, 40 is dark bronze. This would technically be a Dash 17. Any questions on the... forgive me, I've already forgotten the part number. This is their part number 233494, 3-foot pivot side filler or any other Kawneer product. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.